Most people think there was only one Cleopatra, but she was number 7, the last in a long line of queens who ruled through fear, fire, and blood. At just 18, she didn't run from power. She ran straight toward it. First, she had to escape her own palace, smuggled inside a rolled-up carpet. It's the year 51 BCE. Egypt is rich, powerful, and falling apart. The last pharaoh is dead. His daughter, Cleopatra, is just 18. Her co-ruler, a 10-year-old brother, backed by men who want a puppet, not a queen. Meanwhile, across the sea, Rome is at war with itself. And that war is about to crash straight into Egypt, into a kingdom ruled by ghosts, and one girl who refused to become one. She's called Cleopatra, but she wasn't the first. She was Cleopatra VII, the final queen in a bloodline soaked in war, secrets, and survival. The name meant glory of the father. Every king was a Ptolemy, every queen, a Cleopatra. It wasn't just tradition, it was branding, legacy. Power had to look eternal. Cleopatra I, a Syrian princess, married into the family. When her husband died, she ruled Egypt alone. But her sons turned on each other, and she couldn't stop the war. She held the crown, but not the kingdom. Cleopatra II, a queen and a general. She married her brother, then fought a civil war against him. Cities burned. Armies of cousins clashed in the streets. She won, but the people turned on her. She survived the war, but lost the love of her people. Cleopatra III, the Iron Queen. She forced her mother to step down. Later, when her son challenged her, she had him executed. Even family was a threat, even children. Cleopatra IV ran from Egypt, eloped with a rival king, started another civil war, died before she turned 30. Cleopatra V faded from the records, ruled briefly, then disappeared. Cleopatra VI, some say she was a puppet, others say she never existed. And then came Cleopatra VII, young, brilliant, watching. Before her stood the ghosts of 6 queens. Some ruled with wisdom, others with knives. All of them gone. Cleopatra's father, Ptolemy XII, is dead. Some called him the flute player. Others called him a puppet of Rome. But his death left a throne and a crisis. At 18, Cleopatra is named co-ruler. Her partner? Her 10-year-old brother, Ptolemy XIII. But no one in the palace wants her in charge. She's too smart, too strong, too loud. They want a boy king, someone they can control. Within weeks, her name vanishes from official records. Coins are melted down, decrees rewritten. Temple priests stop speaking her name aloud. One night, she looks around her palace and realizes she is completely alone. So she flees across the eastern desert, into the dry winds of Syria. She leaves behind her jewels, her palace, her past, but not her crown. In her mind, she's still queen. In exile, she writes letters, sends out spies, calls in every favor her father ever bought. She builds a mercenary force, over 2,000 soldiers, paid in silver, promises, and desperation. And just as she prepares to return, the Roman world explodes. General Pompey, once Caesar's ally, now his enemy, is defeated in battle. He flees to Egypt, seeking protection from the child king. But Cleopatra's brother has different plans. Pompey is stabbed the moment he steps ashore. His head is severed, wrapped in linen, and sent to Caesar as a gift. It was the worst mistake they could have made. Julius Caesar arrives in Alexandria just days later. He's tired, mourning the death of Pompey, his former ally and son-in-law. Waiting for him, a linen-wrapped box. Inside, the proof of betrayal. No guards speak, no advisors explain. Caesar doesn't thank them. He doesn't even speak. But his silence is louder than war drums. Caesar doesn't make his demand from a tent. He makes it from the throne room of the royal palace. He has marched into the heart of Ptolemy's kingdom, a guest who now acts like its master. He demands to meet the rival rulers of Egypt, Ptolemy and Cleopatra. But there's a fatal flaw in his command. Ptolemy is already inside the palace walls, surrounded by his army. And Cleopatra, she's a fugitive on the outside, barred from her own home. Her brother's men control every gate. So she comes up with a plan. She folds herself into a linen sack. Some say it was a rug, smuggled past the guards, dragged across stone floors, laid at Caesar's feet. That night, the sack unrolls, and Cleopatra rises. Dusty, calm, unshaken, face to face with Julius Caesar. She doesn't beg, doesn't flirt. She offers a deal. She promises to restore order to Egypt, to protect Rome's grain supply, and to pay off her father's debts. 10 million denarii. Caesar hesitates. He knows backing her is dangerous, but refusing her might be worse. He nods, and just like that, Cleopatra wins her first Roman ally. The next day, her brother enters the throne room and sees Cleopatra standing beside Caesar. He throws his crown to the floor and flees, humiliated. But outside, the mob turns. Pothinus, her brother's regent, whispers of betrayal. A Roman rules Egypt now, he says. The palace is surrounded. Caesar is trapped. The siege begins, and Cleopatra, she's standing beside him. The palace is surrounded. Inside, Julius Caesar, a foreign general. Outside, over 20,000 rebel soldiers, loyal to Cleopatra's brother. Streets are barricaded, civilians are caught in crossfire. The Nile chokes on smoke. To make it worse, Ptolemy's men set fire to the docks. The flames spread fast, and somewhere in the chaos, ancient scrolls vanish in the smoke. Did the great library of Alexandria burn that day? No one knows for sure, but the city would never be the same. Inside the walls, Cleopatra gets to work. She's not just a queen, she's a wartime strategist. She sends coded papyrus scrolls to her allies across the Nile. Supplies, weapons, food, messages hidden in sacred symbols. Meanwhile, Caesar acts fast. He has fewer men, but better training. He floods the enemy's advance with seawater, blocks alleyways with burning oil. Every street becomes a trap. Inside the palace, a final betrayal. Pothinus, the scheming advisor, is caught sending secret orders to the rebels. Caesar doesn't wait. Pothinus is executed on the spot. The city holds its breath. Then, at the breaking point, Caesar's reinforcements arrive by sea. Roman ships smash through the harbor. Fresh troops pour in. The siege is broken. Ptolemy XIII flees in a royal barge, but the boat tips. The boy king drowns in the Nile, dragged under by the crown he couldn't carry. The war is over. Cleopatra takes back the throne. As tradition demands, she marries her next youngest brother, Ptolemy XIV. He's 11. She rules alone. Once an exiled girl in the desert, now peace returns to Egypt. But Cleopatra isn't celebrating. She's planning. She secures the grain routes, rebuilds Alexandria's harbor, pays off Rome's debt, every coin of it. Then, behind guarded temple walls, she gives birth to a son, a boy. She names him Caesarion, Little Caesar. She never writes the father's name on stone, but the message is clear. He has Caesar's blood and Egypt's crown. Across the sea, rumors spread like wildfire. Rome's most powerful general has a child with a foreign queen. To Cleopatra, this is more than love or legacy. It's strategy, a new dynasty, one that could stretch from the Nile to the Senate. She doesn't wait for permission. She boards her royal barge, silk sails catching Roman wind, and sails north with Caesarion in her arms. When she arrives, she doesn't bow. Draped in silk, child at her side, a queen, in the capital of a republic. Her enemies call it arrogance. She calls it a return. Cleopatra arrives in Rome, not as a guest, but as a storm. She doesn't hide. She moves into Caesar's villa on the Janiculum Hill, above the Forum, above the Senate, above the men who now whisper in fear. They see her walking with Caesarion. Hear her speaking Latin and Greek. Watch as Romans line up outside her gates just to glimpse her. The Senate begins to panic. A foreign queen, a royal child, a man named Caesar who now talks like a king. In hushed rooms, old men sharpen new plans. And Cleopatra, she's never felt closer to something bigger than Egypt. But power in Rome is a game played with daggers. And in the shadows, her next enemy is already watching. Octavian, Caesar's heir. She played the game and won. But in Rome, winning is a death sentence. If this story gripped you, there's so much more to come.